You've gotten a chance to play with three of the best players after this last. After this last ride, you've really seen it all. But three of the best players of all time. So what makes Kyle Kuzma, Patrick McCaw, and Matt Bonner so different?
Man.
No, what makes LeBron, Tim Duncan, and Kawhi so different? And because like I play with Tom Brady, okay, I play with Aaron Donald, Aaron especially, I'm still pretty tight with because when he came in the league, I was one of the vets there. But like people misunderstand them often, and I feel like especially in basketball, like. How could you understand LeBron perfectly? How could you, especially Kawhi, understand him perfectly? And Tim, what do people misunderstand about those three guys that make them so good?
Well, I think people understand about Tom Brady in your sense is that he's a guy and people love him so much, and guys like that because not saying anybody could beat him, but he wasn't the most athletic guy. You know what I'm saying? He was just extremely smart and he worked so hard at his craft. These guys, yes, they're monsters. They're freak athletes. They're freak of natures, but they work like they don't have those talents, and they study the game like they're the average Joe that needs to make it. The only person I could compare to Tom would be Timmy, even though Timmy was 6'11", tall body. I said he wasn't the most athletically gifted. He was just a bigger body, but he was so smart. He knew his angles and his IQ to his advantage.
Right.
Obviously when he was younger, he was more athletic, but as he got older, he still was killing guys with one leg. But he said Kawhi he has unbelievable hands and with his body, his shoulders, Braun the same. So many other guys that I play with did amazing. But they're just freaking natures, but they also study and know the game, have a high IQ and work like they're the guy. Like at the end of the bench, we're trying to make it to the league. And so that's why so many people would like Steph Curry. He's relatable.
Yeah.
He's not a big guy. He's not the most athletic. He's a smaller guy. I was like 6'3", 6'4". People don't think that. They think he's smaller than that, but he's your average guy. He doesn't have big hands. He doesn't jump very high. He's not very fast.
No.
He is quicker than people expect, but he just worked on his craft, worked on how to be the pure shooter from 50 feet and handle the ball extremely well and has good sight vision and know defenses and know how to attack them. And at the same time, Bron, they also took care of their body. Bron takes care of his body like no other. He sacrificed a lot of his time and energy and family time to make sure his body is, in tip-top shape.
That's what I keep hearing about LeBron. Like I was kind of psychotic about my body, but like also I had a life too, I wasn't going to spend all night in the hyperbaric chamber.
Exactly.
And how long can he play, Danny? Give me an age that he could play to.
I think this contract that he has right now is probably the last one. I don't know if we go any further than that. I think if he does, it'll be to play with Bronny.
Yeah.
If you're crazy about your body, I talk to some other guys. He's like, I think I do more than I'm supposed to. Like I talked to Marvin Williams, who just recently retired. He's a Carolina guy. And so I think I do more than I'm supposed to. And I'm like, yeah, he probably I don't think you're much different.
Mm-hmm.
I think he does. If you're psychotic about your body, he probably does the same. He just spends a little bit more time doing it. Right. He's not in a rush. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not saying he's not in a rush. He obviously wants to see his family, see his kids, his wife, and everything like that. But he sacrifices a lot of that time that he could be with them. That a lot of us are like, I got to get out of here. I got to go back, or I got to do this. He's doing it at the facility, and he's probably doing it at home as well. But it's nothing extreme. It's just the things we're supposed to do. He's going to do cold tub more than once a day. Have his own access to his own cold tub or whatever. He's going to get hydration, drink all his fluids, get massages, getting certain treatment. Same things we do. He's just doing it more times throughout the day and longer throughout the day.
And he's also extremely fucking talented.
And he's got a freak of a nature body that has held up for this long.
So Tim Duncan, I guess the burning question I would have is, has he gotten new jeans since you played with him? Has he changed his fit at all? Or is he just
Have you seen him as of late?
I haven't seen him as of late.
He's got dreads now, man.
What?
He's got the salt and pepper dreads, but he's changed his look a little bit.
I think I did see that. Is he tapering the jeans a little more?
Yes.
So, Kawhi, I'm not going to press you too much because I think everybody probably asks you who this guy is in private. It's one of the most interesting things to me in pro sports is how somebody can be that good and we know him that little. Do you think San Antonio kind of did that a little bit and made him a little bit more inward because he, you know, any other team, he'd be the superstar, and he's looking at it like, hey, I'm playing my role. This is a factory here. Like,
maybe so.
Yeah.
Maybe so. He wasn't a superstar when he started out though. So, but just because of that atmosphere, how that is, everything is more introverted just all around.
Right.
And they don't want us, you know, they didn't really encourage, social media wasn't as big back then. They didn't encourage us to do as much off the court branding. It was more of like, we're here, we take care of business, we play, we win games, and you know that's how we do things. So,
but also, like, I know he wasn't a superstar, but if he was on another team, maybe he'd be more central, and people would have figured him out before 2014 or whatever. Like before he just lit it up in the finals.
If he grew into a different organization, if he had different vets or different organizations, and he might have grown differently to where you know his normal would have been more outspoken or more, you know, messing with the media, having it, but our normal in San Antonio was to be, you know, confined, introverted, and not share too much to the media, which, I mean, still should be that way. Like when it comes to team philosophies and secrets, but when it's your personality, it's okay to, you know, do a little bit more off the, you know, off court branding stuff.
Did he make New Balance cool?
I think he did. Actually, it's crazy because the story, you mentioned Matt Bonner. Matt Bonner still texts me to this day, and he's like, man, because Matt Bonner was one of the first and only guys with New Balance back then. But he still wore them after his deal was up. He just kept it, and he kept his stock. He kept his whistling in storage, and that's, I think, the reason why his shoe busted open. Like, I remember that back when he played in a scenario where his shoe busted open. I think it was because he had them for so long in storage. You know what I'm saying? I think that because they were older, you know, he had different pairs, but he kept his New Balance. And I think he still to this day says, Kawhi, man, used to make so much fun of me, man, for wearing New Balance, and now he's with them. And Kawhi's like, I never said they were whack. I thought they were cool, but you know, to walk around and it's like so Matt Bonner always takes credit for that New Balance.
Oh, Matt Bonner has to be so sour right now.
And now you got a bunch of guys kind of getting on New Balance, and said he definitely brought New Balance back.
New Balance can't get Matt Bonner a deal?
Now? I don't know.
A legacy deal or something? Just give the fucking guy a legacy deal? Come on, New Balance.
Hey, I'm all for it.
I know,
I'm
right?
all for it.
Quick Spurs thing, man. Okay, so Belichick, when I was there, you learn a coach is like, you're scared shitless of a coach. Not scared shitless. I'm afraid of no coach, but like, you just respect the coach. You know what I mean? And you're like, I hate to piss that guy off. But also, you could piss that coach off in ways that you didn't expect. Like, coaches have their idiosyncrasies and their pet peeves. Like, what's the thing that people don't know that's going to get Pop red hot mad?
Just being too cool.
Really?
He hates that. You know, he wants you to have some sense of urgency, some type of professionalism. But yeah, he's one of those guys that has that presence. As soon as he walks into the room, you're like, oh, I'm scared of that guy. I would never want to piss him off. And it never leaves. He always keeps you on edge and frightened of him. I wouldn't say frightened, but like respected eggshells, you know, where you're like, I'm not going to do anything wrong to piss him off or mess up. You know, he's one of those guys that has a short fuse. If he gets mad, it happens real quick. You're like, oh, I need to get my ass in gear. But yeah, he truly, if I had to boil it down to one thing, because there's obviously little things that can do it, but if you're any way, shape, or form too cool or going through the motions, it's going to drive him nuts. You know, so you have a sense of urgency and, you know, go 100% in everything that you do and be sharp and be crisp.
Is he somebody you would call if you need advice right now? I mean, even on other teams, like what's that like in the NBA? Because if I leave a team and I text an old coach, like people could look at that and be like, yo, stop talking to, you know, Jeff Fisher because you're now on the next team. Like, you guys still stay tight.
No, we still keep in contact, and it's more so him reaching out. He's still a scary guy to me. I don't reach out to him as much. I check in when I can, but he still reaches out to me. And he's somebody definitely I would call or talk to get another perspective, because he's great with that. And he kept us, even though NBA, we're all in our little bubble and it's like Christmas every day. We don't really realize what's going on in the real world. Yeah. He kept our, you know, our focus on the court, but he also gave us insight to what's really important in the world and gave us different perception or perspectives of what we needed to know and what we need to focus on. And he's great on backing us when it comes to political things and certain injustices and, you know, minorities. He was like, you know, this is, and presidential things. Because I didn't really care for that stuff when I was younger. Right. But he informed us, you know, he educated us. And, you know, he's the type of guy that said if I needed to ask about a certain thing, or so he would definitely give you another insight or perspective of how to look at it or see things, or what he sees. And history, he's great with history, give you a lesson of things that you never knew, or that's things you couldn't read in books. So yeah, he's definitely a guy I've stayed in contact with, and I still consider family, very much so.